Hi, and welcome to Nursery Rhymes in Modern Times, where we discuss traditional and contemporary nursery rhymes and how they fit into a modern context. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about friends, family, and neighbors, caregivers, and how nursery rhymes fits into the care that they provide to the children that they care for. So if you're not familiar, FFN, or Friends, Family, Neighbors, Caregivers, are non-traditional caregivers. So these are ones that are not necessarily accredited through your state organization. They do not necessarily have a web page or any other sort of business model, but they might care for children. And this can include your neighbors, someone near you who has a child your age, and that can mean, having a child in their care while mom or dad goes to a job interview, but maybe not beyond that too much. Or perhaps babysitters, or perhaps aunts, uncles, grandparents, anyone in a vicinity that is caring for a child in a non-traditional way. So not in a licensed care center or facility or home setting. So these are a huge part of society, and there's a lot of research and conversation happening around these friends, family, neighbors, caregivers, and providing the support that they need to care for the children that they care for. So when you have a friends, family, neighbor, caregiver, first of all, they don't always believe or think of themselves in that way. I'm doing a favor for a friend, or I'm caring for this child because I am available to do so. And while that's wonderful and great that they are available to do that, they aren't able to access the same resources as a traditionally licensed center might be able to do. So this is where the divide comes in a little bit for the kiddos in the care of these caregivers. So as conversations are happening, we are trying to provide more and more resources and information to the caregivers who are providing care in a non-traditional way. One of the reasons why families choose to go this way often has to do with cultural similarities. So if you have families that have moved into your area from a non-dominant culture, they may prefer to go to a friends, family, neighbor, caregiver who shares their culture and has similar songs, similar foods, similar traditions, because it's comfortable, familiar, and positive for that child's development. So in that way, tends to be that you would have nursery rhymes, songs, stories shared in the culture of that home. So you're getting a lot of exposure to that culture for that child in that home setting. Potentially, the opposite may be true. Perhaps parents are choosing to send their children to a neighbor caregiver who's from a different culture to have exposure to that culture as well. So as we're talking about this also dovetails into into society as a whole, where you have a dominant culture and a dominant approach to things, and where we have the line of, is everything happening in one context, following a certain cultural pattern? So if that's the case, then how do we diversify what a child is learning if they are primarily spending time in one context versus another? So as you are providing your story times, as you are reading with your kiddos, I'd love to know what kinds of things you're thinking about. If it is primarily the culture that is dominant in your home, if it is a little bit more widespread than that, if you're leaning more towards the dominant culture in your community, and how that impacts the kiddos that you serve. So as we're talking about diversifying the story times that we're doing, diversifying the songs that we're singing, and sharing things that are inclusive of not only various types of people in your community, but also various types of cultures, that gives us a lot of freedom as far as what songs we're choosing, where those songs are coming from, and being able to then be inclusive of lots of different types of people. So if you happen to know a friends, family, neighbor, caregiver, if you happen to be a friends, family, neighbor, caregiver, this is a great opportunity for you to share with us what kinds of things you are doing with your kiddos, how you're approaching that, if there is any sort of thought process around the songs that you're singing with your kiddos in your care, so that we can then have a larger and more robust conversation about those songs that you're sharing with the kiddos in your care. And as always, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Share any comments with me below. You can reach out to me directly with the contact information below this video. I really appreciate you sharing some time with me today, thinking about these context for nursery rhymes with the kiddos that are up and coming right now. Thank you so much for giving me your time today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.